Video one, how our minds grow, something to reflect on.
Smith, what was it like? Some of the stories and memories you have. Rest in peace, obviously one of the greatest to ever do it, Dean Smith.
My favorite story is not even with me. It's with Mactar Njai, who played at North Carolina.
Mhm.
He was from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Played at Michigan, transferred in,
Went to Oak Hill.
and went to Oak Hill. Yeah, he went to Oak Hill. So Mac was having a tough time in practice. So Roy Williams was assistant coach at the time, and Bill Guthridge. And so they're getting on Mac, like, Mac, what's wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. Coach Smith never cussed. Ever. Excuse me. Ever. Never cussed. So they're getting on him, and so they throw him out of practice. Right? So Coach Smith after practice goes to him, says, Mac, is everything all right? Like, homesick? Like, and he's like, no, coach, and he's not looking at him. He's like, Mac, look at me when I'm talking to you. He's like, no, coach, I'm just not feel. Mac, look at me as I talk to you. He said, coach, in my culture, to look an adult in the eye is
sign of disrespect.
Is a sign of disrespect. So Coach Smith says, oh, okay. Walks out. So next day in practice, there's no Coach Guthridge. We threw him out of practice. Coach Guthridge's not there for a week. So Mac said he gets a call from his mom. She's like, Mac, there's this man here in Africa. Says he's your coach, assistant coach. I know it's Coach Smith. I don't know him well. He's been here for a week saying he's learning our culture. He sent Coach Guthridge to learn his culture so he could never make that mistake again. That's is what Coach Smith is.
That's deep.
Yes.
That's dope.
Auto insurance all seems the same.
Every coach knows that athletes don't often accept responsibility. At the first sign of loss, failure, struggle, adversity, the default setting is often to blame, to defer responsibility to the coach that plays favorites. David Brooks cites the work of Eric Erickson and Robert Keegan describing how minds evolve from childhood through adult. As much as coaches would love for their athletes to be fully evolved, they are not. They are simply hostages to youth. And as is often the case, the parents that love them don't always see over that love to defend the coach that actually might have their best interest at heart. This can create a drama triangle that erodes and sabotages almost any culture. Great coaches are viciously introspective. They live in reality, not cartoon land. They recognize the difference between what is versus what ought to be. Placing blame back on the young, underdeveloped mind might be satisfying in the short term, but it will offer no solutions in the long term. Placing blame, albeit sometimes deserved, creates a self-fulfilling prophecy for all involved. The athlete that is accused of blaming becomes a blamer, and the parent that defends and protects continues to defend and protect. The evolved coach can rise above it all. What we resist persists. By not recognizing this mindset so prominent among athletes and parents, we continue to stay immersed in it. Let's discuss the 4 stages of the evolved mind through a task model as illustrated by David Brooks. The imperial task, in other words, I am king, I only answer to me. So many of our athletes can't see the world through an objective lens. Coaching is seen as criticism and feedback as a character assassination. What percentage of your athletes are of this mindset? More than we'd like to admit. This mindset doesn't understand why they're not playing more. They signed up for the sport to play, not to sit the bench. They don't understand that there are limited lineup spots and the coach is required to choose among a limited number of spots. All they understand is I'm not in the lineup or I'm not playing quarterback. There is no sacrifice at this level. There's only oppression and injustice. The interpersonal task. This is the mindset that so many of our athletes find themselves. It's an us versus them world, and coalitions are born. These coalitions are often on teams, and cliques begin to form. This mindset will always side with their friend over any sense of right or wrong. Loyalty to the wrong idea is valued above curiosity to other ideas. Players feel the injustice imposed upon their friends. A downward spiral can accelerate as loyalty begets division and conflict. Believe it or not, David Brooks contends that some adults may not be outside the interpersonal task. To be a successful coach, it's imperative that we try. It's imperative that we consider the career task. The career task is the mindset of many young coaches just beginning in their field. Coaching is their purpose, and developing a program and winning games is a priority. Hard decisions must be made, and athletes don't often understand these decisions. The career task is often seen through the concept of purpose. Whereas young people often lack purpose and direction, the purposeful person has an agenda and a mission. The purposeful person has found meaning in building a program and chasing the success that great programs often find after serious, focused, and dedicated hard work. It's a laser-like focus on becoming the best you can be. The purposeful person, however, often engages in a psychological phenomenon called inattentional blindness. The most common research on this phenomenon is called the invisible gorilla. As tasks become more important, the people charged with accomplishing those tasks can become pieces to manipulate rather than people to develop and grow. They can sometimes disappear from our consciousness, literally becoming invisible. The movie Dumb and Dumber captures this goal-focused perspective when Harry and Lloyd miss out on an experience of a lifetime, so focused on getting to the next town. The career task is a narrower perspective than the generative task. Let's investigate what David Brooks would consider the ultimate coaching perspective. The generative mindset sees athletes as opportunities to influence, not just people to help achieve a goal. David Brooks claims their mindset evolves into the needs of the world are many, I can't let people down. This mindset adopts a much larger time horizon. They're capable of understanding that success isn't always defined in seasonal time frames, but over a much longer time period, often years and decades. The secret to life is to plant trees in whose shade you'll never sit, might be its slogan. The generative mindset sees the whole person, not just the athlete. Dean Smith, as featured in the beginning of the video, upon his death, had $200 sent to each and every one of his letter winners so they could take their spouse out for one last dinner on him. Dean Smith had a generative mindset. All of us are a work in progress, and all of us enter these stages of development. There are times we are each of them. As a coach of people and as a coach of a sport, it is our challenge to be viciously introspective and rise above the challenges of the day so they don't become the albatross our program must bear. Leaders lead. In today's climate, this must involve adopting to the many perspectives under our care. We can do this, but it does require hard work and effort, the same kind of hard work and effort you ask of your athletes.